Today I'm guided to talk about karma. This question has been coming up a lot, and I'm feeling it a lot in the collective. A lot of lessons are coming around to see if people have learned. And I'm going to talk about karma from two perspectives, the religious perspective and just sort of the energetic balance perspective, where religious beliefs are not a factor. Well, most people, or maybe the majority of people, think about karma. It's sort of like a punishment, you know. Somebody does rotten things and their karma comes back to them. And we also sometimes think that karma is going to be linear, meaning if person A is awful to person B, then person B will somehow get the benefit of that later on down the line to hold person A accountable. Now, a lot of people use that sort of judgmental perspective when talking about karma. I don't see it that way. Everything in the universe is energy and is aligned by the way energy flows. And Earth is no different. I think it was Einstein or Tesla. I'm not sure that energy is neither created nor destroyed. So that being said, when I'm working with somebody around cutting cords to somebody that's negative, somebody they don't want any future connections to, when I encourage or talk about people to cut cords of attachment and send them back to the source, I always suggest wrap those cords with white light and send them back with love. And I have sent toxic cords of attachment back with love that I could have very easily inserted a fuck you in there, but I don't want any further karmic ties to this person. I want to wish them well so well that they disappear from my life. And if you send out sort of energy that keeps you tethered to that person, usually a lower vibration energy, then you're acknowledging that you want to stay connected to them. I find it's a much healthier, easier approach. And here's where faith comes in. But you don't have to look at it from I don't even like the term religious, from a spiritual perspective. From the spiritual, there's two different spiritual perspectives. Buddhists believe that everything is balanced out by karma, and that's good and that there's bad. And what I love about Buddhism is if somebody's a real rotten person, they may very well get reincarnated as a cockroach and have to start all over again. But that's not as a punishment by somebody else. That is because things that they created in their life and the things that we do in our life, both intentional and unintentional, it makes energy ripples in the universe, and everything goes in cycles. The Earth goes around the sun every 365 days. We have seasons. Things ebb and flow, and that is how Earth balances things out. That's why we have places, that are like vortexes, where Sedona, Arizona, where there are parts of the Earth that provide sort of a valve for energy to be exchanged and balanced out. That's why a lot of portals get opened and sometimes not closed. It's all just a way of balancing energy out. And what I love about sort of adding a perspective of faith is knowing that nobody gets away with anything. All of those people that screwed you over in the past, all the ex-boyfriends that lied or ex-girlfriends that lied or cheated, anybody that stole money, anybody that ever abused you or harmed you or hurt you, yours, or anybody you love, they don't get away with it. They may get away with it until their body is no longer viable here. But I'll tell you what, when they get to the other side, it's all accountability. Accountability, not punishment. We all have free will. All of us. And that is nothing, any psychic or so-called spellcaster can ever change. I don't want to go off on that tangent about scammers, but we are all masters of our own energy. And when we do good deeds without needing or expecting a return, that's another way. And if you're doing good deeds because you want a return, you're affecting the vibration of that action. So, like if you're donating to a charity or you help at a charity, That doesn't mean you have to post every minute on social media. I'm not saying not to, but I'm thinking of a phrase. Ethics and morals are what we do when nobody's looking. So if you're doing good deeds and you want everybody to see, you might want to reevaluate why you're doing those good deeds. You'll find that when you do good deeds and you think about it in the karmic perspective, you can really brighten somebody else's day. If, as you go through the store, you put a smile on people's face. Instead of expecting the world to cheer you up that day, maybe that day you're there to help cheer up the people around you as much as you can. So you push that positive energy out. Now, it's fun to do that. It's rewarding because the smiles that you get in return when you put a kind word out there and it really hits home for somebody at that moment, that is enough for most people. I mean, that fills up my heart and makes me feel like I've been a good person. And ultimately, that's really what I want to be remembered as, is somebody that helped inspire people and somebody that left people feeling better about themselves. So, karma. You can put a lot of labels on it. I forgot to mention the Christian version of sort of karma is, their version is more of a punishment version. And it's organized in terms of sins. And, all the things on that list are definitely bad things that people that do those things create very difficult karma for themselves and for the victims that come after that. But when you sort of shift your thinking to God is the equalizer of all things, to God is the main punisher and is in charge of all the punishing all the bad people. All the bad people, they did it to themselves. They ultimately did it to themselves. So I've been able to forgive people that I, should, still owe me money, and it's just not worth it to me to engage any further with everybody. So you have to really decide what you feed is what grows. If you want to improve your karma, put out positive energy. That doesn't mean put on a fake smile or rose-colored glasses and, do it out of a place of, it's a chore. But when you put positive energy out there without expecting a return, you'll be surprised at what drops into your lap. Think in terms of alignment and balance. And this is true for things that people do, like I said, I touched on earlier, intentionally or unintentionally. It doesn't matter. What's that phrase? You don't get to tell people that you haven't hurt them when they tell you that you did. And I don't want to get everybody all pissed off about that particular comment, but what it means is that when we're not always aware of how we come across to other people. That's been a huge lesson for me as an Aries sun and a Leo rising and a Cancer moon. So what does that mean? Inside, I'm a watery mush bag of emotions. On the external, I can appear aggressive. People are often intimidated or threatened. They misconstrue that as overconfidence or cocky. But when inside, I'm like a big mush bag. But I'm still accountable for all of the actions and work and things that I do in my life, even if I don't have that self-awareness. It doesn't matter if you know exactly who you hurt and exactly when you did it. The fact that you put that energy out there, affects your future, because our energy is always sort of realigning and rebalancing itself. So think about it from that perspective. If you have any questions, leave them below.